Here's Ted Cruz on with Michael Knowles. And I will tell you something. We are back to where we were in the early 2000s, where the Republican Party, and we've said this many times, all the grooming stories, they'll say trans, or they'll say, they'll say transvestites, or they'll say transgender. But make no mistake about it, they are revisiting the homophobia of those early 2000s. They don't, someone who's transphobic is not, they don't perceive themselves as, well, I'm not homophobic, but I'm transphobic. They don't I don't like transvestites, but I don't like, they don't make these distinctions. They get freaked out by anything that does not fit the theocratic God Squad version of the way that genders and family roles should be. That's it. The end of story. And they may be aware that I can't say we should outlaw men having sex or being in love with men, or we should outlaw women having sex or being in love with women. They can't say that now. But if they felt they could, they would. This is exactly the same exact talk that they were deploying with gay people 16 years ago, 18 years ago. I mean, prior to that too, but that's when it was its electoral heyday, I think. Here is Ted Cruz and Michael Knowles.
Well, I got to say, Michael, I think it is remarkable that the Verdict podcast seems to be driving Hollywood's agenda. You and I sat at the University of Alabama for our live campus tour, and we were talking about woke Disney. And I observed, I said, look, these lunatics, they want to see Mickey and Pluto going at it. And the press lost their mind. Wow. And then what do? Boom. The next movie they come out, Buzz Lightyear. What do we need? We need lesbian toys. Now, never mind that the last time I checked, most toys are kind of androgynous. They're usually without genitalia unless you're
little
shopping in the, yeah, like it's just, but it is the commitment to
pause
culture.
It for 1 second. Pause it 1 second. I'm just going to, Ken and Barbie.
That's what we're talking about.
I mean, Ken and Barbie. Yes, I don't think that these characters in this animated film have genitalia. But Ken and Barbie had some pretty serious gender roles.
They're coming out with a Barbie live action movie.
Ken and Barbie were explicitly heterosexual.
Absolutely.
And if heterosexuality was viewed anywhere near the way that these two clowns view homosexuality, they would have been outraged. Talk about grooming. But he needs to make this premise like this is new. It's not new. None of this is new. None of this.
They put the homophobic bigots on the bench after the mid 2000s stuff didn't go so well, and now they're just found a way to play them again.
Yep, that's it.
Usually without genitalia unless you're
little
shopping
on the
like it's just, but it is the commitment to culture. It is, and this movie has now been banned, I think, in 14 countries. The UAE has banned it. There are countries in the Middle East. There are countries in Asia. There's significant discussion that China is not going to allow the movie in because of this scene. And I got to say, it's a wild twist where Hollywood has been willing to grovel to China, to let China censor its movies, to embrace anti-Americanism, to avoid any criticism of China because they want to get access to the Chinese movie market. But when it comes to their culture agenda, apparently now suddenly they've discovered, all right, give up the money because lesbian toys are more important. And I must say, it brings a whole new meaning to the phrase "to infinity and beyond." Yeah, that's sort of like the slippery slope, Senator. You know,
Pause it for 1 second. You know, like I really enjoy Michael Knowles' fake laughing because it what? Let's just work backwards. It brings a whole new meaning to the phrase "to infinity and beyond."
Like, what does infinity or beyond in this circumstance mean?
But
what are the terms?
It doesn't bring in any new meaning to the words infinity and beyond. What's fascinating is you just watched in real time Ted Cruz realize like how he effed up in his talking points and then had to reel it back in. So he's like, they've already had it banned in 14 countries. And then when he realized like, oh shit.
It's all the countries I like to.
I should not be naming these countries because I have like disparaged them over and over again. And the one thing that we find grotesque about them is that they are authoritarian or theocratic. So let me make this about the hypocrisy that Hollywood is willing to make anti-American films, like, and then he's got to go to infinity beyond, and poor John Knowles or whatever, Mike Knowles, has to pretend like it's funny, and he's probably just admiring, like, oh, he almost got in trouble there with his. Is there more here? Let's continue.
Covered. All right, give up the money because lesbian toys are more important. And I must say, it brings a whole new meaning to the phrase "to infinity and beyond." Yeah, that's sort of like the slippery slope, Senator. You know, it seems that we never get to the bottom of the slippery slope. Maybe that's because the slippery slope goes to infinity and beyond.
Oh my gosh. That is,
good Lord,
God, so painful.
It's so funny though to like, he's like, it's been banned in so many countries because of how egregious this lesbianism is, like United Arab Emirates and China and all these anti-American countries. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, they banned it because they're like religious theocrats. It's the exact same reason you want to.
In Iran, they banned this film because of the lesbianism. It must be, it is, it's fascinating. These guys, they are, and again, he's talking about lesbians. Like, you know, do you remember there was that book, was it Michael Signorelli who wrote this book that was called like, It's Not Over or something to that effect? I think we had him on a couple of years ago about it.
It's Not Over, Getting Beyond Tolerance, Defeating Homophobia, and
I remember when he came out that book, like half of the, like, you know,
True Quality.
He had to be defensive about it on some level. Like, guys, we're not past this yet. And a lot of people were like, come on, man, it's resolved. What are you trying to tell me that we're going to see a Republican senator, number 2 in the presidential race, come out and malign Hollywood because there's lesbians in the movie? Seriously? No way. That is so 2010.
Or like drag, like just like the concept of drag being like an animating cultural.
Rudy Giuliani would dress in drag at events.
Exactly. Like,
Raw Story, I haven't seen this kiss that people are upset about, but according to Raw Story, although many reports have focused on a supposed lesbian kiss in the film, the scene in question is actually more of a brief peck between 2 long-married characters who have a child.
I mean, it doesn't even matter what it is, as much as they know that this is going to generate electoral benefit for them. And we are back to where we were in the aughts. It's like a Benjamin Button type of situation. We're not quite back at 2004 where George Bush got up in prime time and said, it's with a heavy heart that I need to say that we are going to seek a constitutional amendment to prevent gay people from marrying. Also, sort of a tacit understanding that maybe the Constitution says that gay people can get married. We need to amend that to inhibit their rights, to create second-class citizens. We need to change our Constitution to create second-class citizens. We've seen the Constitution interpreted in such a way that we have second-class citizens. But I don't know if there's ever been an attempt to rewrite the Constitution, to add to the Constitution, to create a class of second-class citizens, an explicit one. That's where we were in 2004, and we're working our way back.